Hello everyone, Wayne Tucker here. In this video I want to talk about being an entrepreneur and owning my own short-term rental business. I have started about a year and a half ago with one property, and I currently have two short-term rental properties. The main platforms that I use for are vacation rentals by owners, which is HomeAway, as well as Airbnb. So like I said, it started about a year and a half ago. Didn't know anything about the business. Didn't even know anybody actually that had a property that they rented on for short-term rentals either. So it's been quite the learning curve. There's lots of aspects of applying my management experience with being always done for a short-term rental business. So having those many years of management experience, I think it's been a great asset for this type of business. I kind of learned it early from the ground up. For the last year and a half, I've been doing all aspects of the business, which I think it really gives you a good idea of all the various aspects that evolve with it and some of the problems that you can run into. So for one thing, for both the properties during this time period, I've set them up on multiple platforms, and the reason I do that is because rather than rely on one platform, Airbnb or HomeAway, it gives me opportunity to get bookings across multiple platforms. That's one part of it, but also you got to make sure that you're in using multiple platforms. It creates a complication because you need to make sure that your bookings you don't end up with double bookings. So there's a process that you can go through to sync those calendars across multiple platforms, so that if someone makes a booking on HomeAway for one of your rental properties, that it automatically gets blocked off in the other platform, so you don't end up with double bookings, which is extremely important because you don't want to have two guests arriving for the same place, so overlap of when they're arriving or something. So it's important for you to do that. Another thing that it takes probably about a year to get used to and to tweaking is the pricing of the place. So when you start putting one of your properties on these platforms, you tend to have a much lower rate in your nightly or your daily booking rate because nobody knows about your property, and you don't have any reviews. So there's no way for anybody to gauge about the quality of the place. They can see the pictures, but they don't know how people feel about the place. So when you're starting off, your rates tend to be a fair bit lower until you get some of these positive reviews. So what I've done with that, for one property, I've been doing it for about a year and a half, so I've gotten a pretty good idea of the pricing, but still there's lots to learn. And then the other place is fairly new, and due to pandemic now, things have been much slower for short-term rentals in general. So that second place, I'm still learning about the pricing strategies for that one. But there's also, I use a software to help with the pricing. So based on demand, for example, in the Halifax area, the pricing program can actually increase or decrease the nightly pricing for the rental property. So that's another aspect of the business that I had to learn as well. The reviews is extremely important when you're doing short-term rental business. It's you got to make sure that you provide a good quality stay for your guests, and they're very happy with their stay. So you got to be checking in on the guests, make sure everything's going fine, see if they need anything, if anything's missing, if they're having any issues. It's important for you to be addressing all those. So if there's something happens with the refrigerator, the washer and dryer, or anything within the place, within your rental properties, you need to be taking care of that in a timely manner. If your Wi-Fi goes down, for example. So you're on a regular basis dealing with those issues, and as well as dealing with the maintenance issues. So in terms of running the business, like I said, there's many aspects to it. The marketing, there's still things that, even though you're using some platforms that are fairly popular, you need to be doing the proper marketing of your properties on those platforms. Otherwise, people are not going to take notice of those properties and rent them. So you got to be doing the marketing and selling your properties and then taking really good quality pictures and describing your space. Otherwise, people don't get a good handle on what your property has to offer. And you also got to think about the neighborhood where your property is. So you got to be describing what's available. For example, my properties, I have created a guest book for the properties. And that's available in hard copy or electronic, and that gives people things to do, what they can do around the surrounding areas, what's close by. For example, where are the nearest grocery stores, where is the nearest fitness center, where can they go for a walk. So the more detail you provide, it results in much better experience for your guests. So you need to be putting time and effort into creating these guest books. The other thing is sometimes called a house manual, and that provides details in terms of how to do things within the property. For example, if there's anything in regards to the air conditioning or the air exchange or anything, things with the TV, how to get access to the Wi-Fi, where's the nearest fire extinguisher, anything that you need to, or questions they might have, you try to incorporate them in your house manual. So, and kind of benefits your guests because they get access to that information just in a few pages in your house manual, but also benefits you as well because the more things that you answer in your house manual, the less questions that they will have about the property. So it can save you a little bit of time with that. It's been a great learning experience in terms of all the things that you need to do, because it's when you're kind of doing it as just a one person and you got multiple properties with it, it can take a fair bit of work. And to grow the business, if I was to have additional properties, then it would be getting to the point where I would need some help with it. So right now I do all aspects of it. Everything that I've outlined, I take care of. So I'm the contact person for the guests. If they have any questions with their booking or inquiries, if there's any problems that they're having, if there's any maintenance issues, I'm the contact person. I'm the person actually doing all that as well. So occasionally, if there's something I might have to call a plumber about, but for the most part, I've been taking care of most of the issues in terms of the maintenance myself, and doing any repairs. If there's any, painting that needs to be done, I've been doing that myself, as well as been doing all the cleaning. So sure, I could have contracted that out, but it's been very benefit for me to kind of do all that, to kind of learn about how much time it's taking. And also I got an investment into these properties, and then I'm looking to get the highest quality reviews back from the guests, and I want to make sure that the properties are up to my standards in terms of meeting or ensuring that the guests will have a great experience at these properties. So I've learned a great deal over the last year and a half with setting up the short-term rental business. About many years of management experience, I think has been very valuable in me taking on this business. So it's been a great way for me to express apply my skills in this type of business. At the same time, I'm getting a lot out of it as well, because it's probably from the first time in many years where I've been able to do every aspects of the job, from doing the cleaning, maintenance, bookings, communicating with the guests, setting up the platforms, the marketing, doing the reviews, like get the guests review you, but you also get a chance to review the guests as well. So it's many aspects of the business, and having to do all that myself, I think has been a great benefit to myself. And saying that, will get a point, and I am at that point where if I was to grow the business any further, and adding additional properties, then I would need to start getting some help with that, aspects of that, depending, for example, starting with getting someone to help it with the cleaning, which is between bookings is very time consuming, because it takes, depending on the property, it takes several hours, and having someone else help you with that would be a great help. So unfortunately right now it's a very slow time for short-term rental house. Certainly far from booking up on my properties, which is unfortunate right now, but that's to be expected when people are just unable to travel during the pandemic, and things are much more slower. But hopefully with time that will change. But that could take a number of months before that really, or if not longer, before it really gets back to kind of a normal traveling and business for the short-term rental property hosts like myself. Okay, thank you.